everybody, welcome back to our channel. Today we're going to move out some pseudos into bigger water. They've been in this tank right here for about a month. Before that we had popped them, taken them away, that's what we call taking them away from the female. And then they went into the warehouse for probably 3 or 4 weeks. And then we brought them out here to size them up. Now we're going to move them to a tank that's probably about 800 gallons. Now these we call just regular assorted and Biro. And that means to us how they grow. We don't put them in with certain other fish because the other fish will grow slower. These guys will stunt them out. So in here there's red zebras, chipokes, sockolopi, cobalts, red obs, kenny eyes. And you may say, well, why do we mix them? Well, even if you take a look at the whole farm, we don't have space to put a tank full of reds, a tank full of kenny eye, a tank full of cobalts out, because it just won't work for us. There's just not enough room. So anyway, this tank has been drained. By that I mean we just took some of the water out, so it makes it a little bit easier. These nets are pretty much made to fit this tank with this burial vault. But this burial vault's kind of, every one of them varies, so sometimes it doesn't fit perfectly. But anyway, this is about half the fish in here. And we're going to carry them over there in probably 2 to 3 buckets. Then we'll just put them in the other tank and let them grow. I would imagine in about 2.5 months, these guys will be ready to go.
Rick, can you show us some of the different species that are in there?
Okay.
Up close. Maybe talk about
we got sockolopi, kenny eye, chipoke, OB zebras, red zebras. I think there's Johanny in here. I don't have my glasses on, so sockolopi and cobalt. So there's probably, I would say there's 10 types of fish in here. And they're all easy to tell apart, obviously. Maybe not now would you want to try to do it, but when they get to be saleable, then they will be easy. So because we're going such a short distance, we're going to put quite a few per tank, per bucket I mean. And then what we'll do is, as soon as we get over there, the water is going to be the same exact temperature, so we do not have to worry about floating or doing anything like that. We'll just flat out dump them. So that's 2 buckets full. There's probably 3 or 4 more buckets full in here. So now we'll go ahead and move them where they go. This is our newest area we put in. We probably put this in about 3 years ago. And what these are is more concrete vaults. But these over here, these white tubs, used to be containers for different items, and they've been cut in half and made into a tank. So each one of these was probably another 3 foot tall, and then it was cut in half, and now we could fill them up with fish and work them. If they were as tall, we couldn't, of course we couldn't work them. So here we are at the, we call these white tubs, the white tub, where we're going to put these fish in. You can see this thing's probably, I'm saying this thing's 800 gallons. So what we're going to do is just slowly let the fish out, and they're going to start running a big circle around this tank at school. If you can see them down there, but by tomorrow they'll be all over the tank. But right now they're going from being in 300 gallons of water. Now they're going into this big old tank. So you saw these guys in the 300 gallon burial vault, and they look really crowded. If you look in here, they don't look crowded. It's because they're spread out, there's a lot more water. Each one of these tanks has a screen over it so they can't go out. So these guys we'll start feeding these guys probably a combination of our food, Extreme Nano, which is a small pellet, and then eventually we're going to feed them the 1.5, which we feed to 99% of the farm. And we'll show you some of that as we do it. On the way back, I'll show you a tank of these that have been out here for about a month and a half, and we're already selling out of it. We showed you how we put out the smaller fish out here to grow up. These are the same size tank here, and as you can see, these guys, not only are there a lot less fish in here, but they're a lot bigger. Some of these guys in here are 3.5 inch. And the reason being is we've been taking fish out of here for a month and a half, 2 months, and then they just kept growing. So we would move to another tank. We always try to keep several of these tanks going. So even though this tank doesn't look like it has a lot of fish in it, we've been in this tank 5 or 6 times, taking out 50, 60, 70 fish at a time. We will sell these as, you can come get reds out of here if you want to. You can come get kenny eye, but 90% of the time I'm selling these as an assorted tank for a store. They'll throw them in a tank. They'll buy them by the box lot, by the way. They'll throw them in a tank and then let people come in there and grab 10 of them, 12 of them, whatever they want. Let the tank have a assorted pseudo tank. So eventually this is going to grow up and it's going to be like the last 2 we just showed you. This tank right here is what I was talking about, what we call special pseudos. And they can't go with those other fish because they just don't grow as fast. But in here, there's albino red mac, albino auratus, albino sockolopi, exasperatus, red exasperatus. It looks like maybe there's some hongi in here. And they just grow at a different pace. Albino sockolopi, albino auratus. And so therefore they can't go in with those red zebras, cobalt sockolopi. Those guys will just outgrow them. These exasperatus, they'll just stump these guys out. So we'll put these out later.
So Rick, on the farm itself, how many different, I guess, communities of species do you guys put together to save tank space? I mean, are there a lot of different species that you'll
Not
mix
really.
together?
We don't do it for the haps. We don't do it for peacocks. We don't do it for Tanganyikans. But we just mainly do it for these pseudos, because the other ones we raise like Demasoni. There's not a Demasoni in here or a gold lab in here because that's over here. These are gold labs. We put gold labs out by the thousands and Demasoni out by the thousands, and the reason being is we sell these to almost every order has gold labs or Demasoni in it. So we don't put these in with Demasoni. We don't put them in with anything. These guys are going to go out eventually, and we've got more in the warehouse, but these guys are going to go out in one tank, probably a 16 by 16 or a 10 by 20. By that I mean a 10 foot by 20 foot by 3 foot deep. One of them, the 10 by 20, I think is about 5,000 gallons. Hey guys, I hope you liked what you saw today. Please like us and subscribe, and we'll be back visiting fish later.